wanted to talk to you about finding the right trainer. This segment is about, if I knew then what I knew now, what would I do different? You see, it's been a really long time since I ever did my very first hypnosis course. We're talking 10 years ago, maybe even more than that. And I was naive. I didn't know what I was looking for. I didn't know what to look for. I was uneducated, that's the word. And so my story was, I went on to Google, searched hypnosis course, found the first one that had a really reasonable price, in fact, really cheap price, and signed up for it. There was no practical elements to it. There was no tutor support. I was literally sent a book and some really, really poorly scripted videos. You couldn't see the faces, you couldn't see anything, it was that distorted. So needless to say, about a week, maybe 2 weeks into it, I ditched it. And that kind of put me off doing anything for a long time. Fast forward, and I've now been qualified for over 2.5 years. I have done so many courses and I still have more that I want to do. So let's talk about it. What would I change? What would I do differently? First of all, my most important piece of advice is research your trainer. Research hypnosis. Find out what it is about hypnosis that really interests you. What can hypnosis do? What does it do? Where doesn't it work? Really research it. Get some books on hypnosis. Find out who the greats are and get their books. Go onto YouTube and watch people who are already doing this sort of thing. What you want to be looking for is a trainer who shows you demonstrations. Now they might have a website where they do that, they might have YouTube or some other sort of platform, Facebook or something. So what you should do is go and you should research them and watch them giving demonstrations. Now this is really key and really important, because when you're watching a trainer give a demonstration, you get a feel for their way, their identity around it. Some will click with you and some you won't like. Now, what's the point in training with someone who you absolutely cannot get on with, that you just don't have that rapport? It's not going to be a good fit. You want someone where you look at them, you watch what they do and you go, wow, I want to learn how to do that. I want to be like them. Because that'll help you evolve your own identity as a hypnotist. You see, we all do these different courses and we take a bit from there and a bit from there and a bit from there, and it creates our own identity. Now, if you're training with someone who you already admire, respect, love if you like, then you're really going to take in that information. You're going to get everything that you want from that course, because you're going to be really enthused to be like that person. So yeah, research them, do everything you can to find out who they are. Find out if they're a big deal, find out if other people recommend their courses, and you can easily do this. I didn't even know that such a thing existed. Here's my naivety, and I'll be very honest here. I thought, I'm going to be a hypnotist. It's like going to school. You go to your local school, you get qualified, and then there you are, done. Ready for the world. It's not the case. There are really good trainers out there, and there are okay trainers out there. Yes, they have a general sort of syllabus to teach, but they put their own into it. They put their own personality into it. They put their own learnings. They teach you that. So if you've got someone who's been doing this for 20, 30 years, they've learned mistakes. They've learned from them. So basically you can learn from them to accelerate yours by not making the same mistakes they did. They've already streamlined the way that they do things in such a way that they get the results quicker. So you really want to be training with someone who's basically been seeing a lot of clients. I mean, you could have someone who's been doing this for 30 years, but they've only seen 10 people. So you want to make sure they've been working with people, that they've been training lots of people, that they are well known, that there's demonstrations out there for you to watch, that if you go onto Facebook communities for hypnotists, that people recommend them. You need to make sure that all of it connects. that this person perhaps has brought a protocol out to the community, that they're actively seeing clients is also so incredibly important, because things are always changing. And so it's really important that your trainer is also seeing clients. So these are the things you need to be looking at, researching, and really doing your due diligence on. Another thing to talk about is accreditation. Did you know that some people can set up an accreditation overnight just like that with nothing more? It is so easy to do, and it does actually mean a lot. So it's really important to do your research on who you want to get accredited with, what the insurance company you're going to use will accept as accreditation. Will that certificate give you the ability to go all around the world and help people throughout the world, or is it going to limit you to just the country you're in? So these are sort of questions you want to be asking, and it's not up to your trainer to give you that information. At the end of the day, they're selling you a course. It is your responsibility to research what that certificate's going to mean for you. What is that certificate going to give you? Is it in good standing? Is it well reputable? Has it been going on a long time? Will people recognise it? Will insurance companies recognise it? Can you use it worldwide? These are really critical, important elements for you to research. Don't take other people's word for it. Ask other hypnotists. We're a very sharing community, and we help people out as much as we possibly can, whether that's choosing a good trainer, whether that's finding the right certification for you. If we can help and we know the information, we will gladly share it, so ask people. Another thing is, since we've had COVID in the world, it's changed the way that we do things now. Everything's moved online. And yes, there were been trainings online before COVID, but even more so now. Now, the beauty of this, and some people will prefer classroom training, and that's brilliant. I love classroom training. I love meeting new people and all that it involves. The pitfalls of classroom training for me are, it takes me away from my family. I've got children. I don't want to be away for weeks on end without my family. I want to come home to them. So for me, that's like number one. Two, it's actually cheaper to train online. Now, the courses are no different in price, and you get what you pay for most of the time. Research again. But think of what you save. If you're doing an online course, then you're not paying for hotel fees, you're not paying for travel fees, parking fees, the expensive hotel food on the evenings, all of them different things. You're not having to go and make sure your passport's in date or get visas. All of them stressors, all of them financial implications, they're gone. You learn from the comfort of your home or your office or even your garden. So it's really flexible in that way. It works around you and your lifestyle. Also, when you're in a classroom, you are expected to retain all of that information all at once, and that's it. You have to scribble and write your notes furiously throughout. When it's online, sit back, enjoy the training, and then replay, because then you can pause, you can write your notes, and you can make them thorough. You can review it at any time. You have that access to get that information going fresh in your mind, because we all know that when we walk away from things, we can often lose some of that information we learn. So by having the opportunity there for the replays, you've always got access to it. So it's a very valuable tool, especially if you don't, say you don't work with a smoker very often. Then when that person comes in through the door, you're going to want to have a quick refresh to make sure, because it might have been 6 months since your last one. It depends what your niche is and where you're focusing your marketing. The other massive plus side to online training is, by having all that money saved, you are able to then take that as a cash injection to your new business or your existing business for marketing, for promoting, maybe even another course. Whatever it is that you need it to be, now you've got that extra cash. Instead of just wasting it, and it's like dead money really, isn't it? You're actually going to be putting it towards something that's going to give you a return. you pull it towards marketing, you get return with your client, with a bigger base, with lists for creating mail things to send out. So yeah, massive opportunity there. But also you're getting access to people you might not have been able to have access to before. I mean, just think about it. How often do you miss an opportunity of a live training because you couldn't get the money together, because you had to have double at least of what the course was to afford all the extra expenditure? So now you're able to train with people all over the world and meet people all over the world. Now, what's the value in that? Well, if you're training and your other delegates are from over the pond, wherever they are, and you get in conversations and you get friendly with them, you get to learn about what hypnosis is like where they are. What are the rules? What are the guidelines? Building up allies. Because in the hypnosis world, we are all very good friends. We all actively communicate with each other. We're always helping each other, supporting each other. Because we all know there are so many people out there in the world that need help, that we can't all do it alone. We have to work together to do what we can to help, to get the word out there. We're just all people who love to help others. So that's the thing on the flexibility of training. Another really important point is with online training, please make sure that you use a trainer who has practical elements. And it absolutely has to have practical elements, as in you go into breakout rooms and you are actively participating and practicing with other people. Video courses are great if you've already got the certificate, you've already got the confidence, and maybe you've had a little bit of a break and you just want to refresh it, or you just want to learn this other person's style. That's different, that's fine. But if it's just a video course, and there's loads out there and they can be really cheap, they're not going to get you anywhere. They aren't, because you're not going to have the confidence at the end of that course to then go out and see clients. You've not going to have the assessment by your trainer who's watched you demonstrate that you are capable, that you're ready for this. So how can someone give a certification if they've never even watched someone performing hypnosis or NLP or whatever it is? You need to have someone who's actively engaging and watching you and making sure that you are able to deliver. So it's incredibly important, and I'll tell you why. Because along the way, I've got a Facebook community and there's a lot of hypnotherapists there, and we just talk, and there's so many that come through that have this lack of confidence because they never got the practical element. They weren't pushed beyond their comfort zone to get out there and do it, so they're not quite ready. So it is really important. They sometimes they come out and they don't feel they deserve the certificate because no one watched them and made them feel that yes, they can do it. They just never practiced. You know, the client that's coming through the door tomorrow is the very first person I've ever tried to do hypnosis on. You really need that. And ultimately, the one thing you must do whenever you go with any training is buddy up with other people who are on that course. Please do that. Set up a Facebook group, set up a WhatsApp group, whatever it is, and meet up at least once a week for a couple of hours and practice, and talk through the points that you've been learning, because talking it through also helps that information to go in. In addition to that, when you're then digesting what it is that you've learned and you're telling the other people and talking about, you are learning more because you're effectively teaching it to someone else. So as you're doing that, you're having to learn the process better. So buddy up, practice, and do it as many times as necessary. Honestly, it will pay dividends in the long run. I guarantee you, it really will. We meet up every week now in our group, and everybody is just excelling and they're doing so well now because the confidence is there. And I tell you the other thing that you do, when you're in these courses, you're able to work on yourself. You're able to work on the self-sabotage, the low confidence, the low self-esteem, issues of the past that's stopping you from getting what you want now. You're able to work with these people who are learning these skills along with you and clear all of them blocks, so that by the end of the course you are ready to go out and help clients because you've cleared all of that stuff. It's behind you, it's no longer relevant. And because you've cleared that, you're the inspiration then to your client, because now you can say, well, that used to be my story. Used to, no longer. And you can then explain how well it worked. You're the living proof of why people should have hypnosis. So that's that point. And the final one is watch hypnosis summits. Join Facebook communities if you're interested in it. Learn more about it, get more, but go on the summits. Now you can get free summits, you can go for paid summits, you can go for live, you can go online, you can even buy summits that happened a year ago or perhaps even longer than that. Okay, there is so much access out there. YouTube is your friend, joining the communities is your friend, because we're often posting and sharing when things are coming up. Now, of course, if you haven't qualified, you can't use them skills that you've learnt from it. But what it does do is it lets you know who's at the top of their game, who's out there, who's actively letting the world know that they're there. It lets you come to terms whether you really like this person or not. It lets you learn their skills and their techniques to know whether that's a fit for you. So the summits are incredibly, incredibly important. They're really good fun. The people who are on them as speakers genuinely go around and they communicate back with you. You often get good deals with them as well for future trainings. There's so much giving on the summits. Even as a qualified hypnotist, you should still be attending summits regularly, keeping your knowledge up to date, always wanting to have that more information, always wanting to learn more. Because I don't think, even if I continue doing hypnosis every day to the day I die, I still won't even have touched the tip of the iceberg on it. It is just fascinating. There are so many books, there's so much information out there. And as a newbie, when I started, I didn't have a clue that any of this existed in this world. So I just wanted to share that with you, because maybe it'll help you make the right choices. Maybe it'll help save you some money, maybe some heartache, some disappointment, because we've all been there. We've all been at the start and not knowing where to go, and the only thing we knew was that Google could tell us. Let me tell you this, make it your responsibility to be responsible for your learning, for your outcome. And by doing that, research, ask questions, talk to people who are already in the business, and you can't go far wrong when you do that. I really do hope that this has helped you, and I'll do my best to answer any questions if anyone has any. It's just what I've learnt, my experience, my insights from talking to other people as well. So that's my take on things. Bye.